We're going hot?
Thank you.
Good luck, everyone.
Good luck.
Thank you.
You all.
Yeah, you know.
Good evening and welcome to the City of Lowell at-large City Council debate. My name is Marty Lorre and I will be your moderator for this evening's discussion. This forum is being presented by the Greater Lowell Chamber of Commerce in partnership with 980 WCAP, and it continues these two organizations' long-standing partnership in keeping the residents of the City of Lowell informed about the issues and the candidates vying to represent them. I'd like to start by thanking Lowell Telecommunications for hosting this event in their beautiful downtown studios, and for airing it. As always, they're a valued community partner in providing information and fostering civic engagement. Thank you as well to Daniel McFadden, President of the Greater Lowell Chamber of Commerce, for continuing to promote business and economic development in the Greater Lowell community and for being a steadfast partner of the radio station and its mission. Thank you to Sam Polton, owner of 980 WCAP, for his commitment to local radio and forums such as this one, designed to present the candidates and their unedited views to you. Lastly, I'd like to thank the candidates themselves for their participation this evening. Running a campaign and serving in public office is a tireless and often thankless endeavor, one that requires time spent away from the family and the things we enjoy most. Regardless of the stands on the issues and outcomes of the elections, they're all to be commended for their dedication to Lowell and its people. With that, it's time to begin this evening's debate. The questions will focus on many issues, but this being a Chamber of Commerce sponsored event, there'll all be a focus on business and economic development issues. The candidates, these are the rules. The candidates will have 1 minute for an opening statement. The questions, you'll be given 1 minute to answer the question. Closing statement, 1 minute. I'll allow rebuttals only, and only they'll be allowed if another candidate mentions you by name or criticizes your answer, and it would be 30 seconds for the rebuttal, and then again another 30 for the person for their response. Those will be the only rules. And with that, we can start. The candidates tonight are Deb Belanger for at-large, Vesna Nuon, City Councilor Vesna Nuon, Challenger Bobby Tugbiyele, City Councilor John Drinkwater, former Mayor, City Councilor Rita Mercia. And with that, we'll have the opening statements. Deb Belanger, you go first.
Hi, I've worn a lot of hats in my life. I've done event management, marketing, sales, and nonprofit. I'm also a mother. I was a founding member of the Greater Lowell Chamber of Commerce and also a founding member of the Lowell Cultural Affairs Office. As executive director of the Greater Merrimack Valley CVB, we brought in a lot of high-profile events to the city, such as the Fed Cup, Men's World Curling Championship, which brought in millions of dollars in economic impact. I was able to sell this city to many event right holders. I know how to take a no and turn it into a yes. I'm the only candidate with economic development experience. I increased visitor spending to over $1 billion in the Merrimack Valley, and I've worked with many new business who made Lowell their home. I'm a leader, a visionary, consensus builder, and professional saleswoman.
Thank you. Councilor Vesna Nuon.
Thank you, Marty. I want to thank WCAP and all the hosts, as well as the LTC, the viewer at home. It has been my honor to serve on the City Council for 3 terms. I want to return to the City Council for some specific reason. To ensure that our high school is completed on time and on budget, to continue working with nonprofit to address issues of housing and health, to promote public safety and trust between the police and the community, to seek and find new source of revenue and funding, and to support downtown and neighborhood businesses, and to make Lowell a fair and inclusive city. So, I humbly ask for one of your 3 votes so that I can return to the city council to improve all those for all of Lowell. Thank you.
Thank you. Bobby Tugbiyele.
Thank you. My name is Bobby Tugbiyele, and I am a first-time candidate for local office. I've been in Lowell for 20 years, and I got here as a transfer student through UMass Lowell, Go Riverhawks. And I was done in the December of 2004 and walked in 2005. While in UMass Lowell, I met my then girlfriend, now wife. We've been together for 17 years and married for 12. We have 2 boys, 8 and 7, and we live downtown. And we've owned a home downtown since 2009. This year, this race, and what I want to impart with you all is that this will be a year about who you believe is going to take Lowell from good to great, and who can build the strongest possible relationships throughout that process. I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a graduate, I'm a downtown Lowell resident, I'm a community advocate, and I always put the community first. I'm excited, and I thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, Bobby. John Drinkwater. Councilor John Drinkwater, I'm sorry.
Thanks, Marty. Good evening, Lowell voters. My name is John Drinkwater, and I've been a resident here in Lowell for the past 19 years. Been a homeowner for the past 13. I've been a public schools parent for the last 5, and I will be a public schools parent for the next 13. And for those reasons, I have a constant reminder of how important this work is, how important the work of the City Council is the decisions that we're making today are going to impact not just my kids, but all kids here in Lowell for generations to come as they come into the world and try to make a life for themselves here in the city of Lowell. So it's something I take very seriously. I've also had the privilege and honor of serving as a Lowell City Councilor for the past nearly 2 years. During that time, I believe I've made a difference. I believe I've been a collaborator, and I believe I still have a lot to contribute to the City Council and to the city generally. So I ask you for your support so I can continue this work, and ask for one of your 3 votes in the at-large race on November 2nd. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Drinkwater. Councilor Rita Mercia.
Yes, thank you, Marty. First of all, Marty, may I say you're doing a superb job. Very proud of you. Thank you very much for allowing this to happen. This is democracy at its best. I don't know if you know, but my name is Rita Mercia, and I am running as an at-large candidate for the City Council throughout the whole city. I'm running to continue the good work that I started 26 years ago to make a difference in our city. I want to provide, as I have in the past, the best constituent service that you have every right to expect and deserve. I want to be a messenger. That's what this is all about, to bring your problems, your ideas, your concerns from your table to City Hall. Half of the motions that councilors make are not their motions. I will admit it. They're not my motions. They're your motions, and I bring them forward for you, because I know that it's important to you that you're heard, and maybe you're heard through me. So that's why I'd like to stay. Together we can solve problems while making our city a better place. I could go on, but I won't. I don't want that bell to ring. I think it's the Athenian corner bell, and I don't want to hear that right now.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And thank you. We're trying to stay to that 1 minute time limit. It's tough. But as we go on with the questions, we will hit it to the 1 minute. The first question will go to Vesna to start. Do you think our downtown is thriving? If not, what's the one thing you would do to change that?
Downtown thriving. The city have done a lot over the years trying to help downtown, to revive downtown, especially during COVID. There's a lot more to do. There's one thing if I was to do is that to work with the owners of the storefront to renovate it, give them incentive to renovate upstairs, because foot traffic upstairs, whether it be law office, doctor office, or resident office, that's what it turned to the business's customer for the downstairs, and that's what you can stabilize the downstairs, the storefront. That's the only way it can happen, because you can't just do the same thing and expect something to happen. It's not going to happen. So I filed a motion on that recently to give the downtown, to give the owner incentive to rehab upstairs so that we can have foot traffic and helping the business downstairs going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Bobby Tugbiyele.
Out of all the candidates here tonight, I am the only one who lives downtown, and so this is extremely personal to me. Downtown is something that I live and breathe and have lived and breathed over the last 12 to 13 years. Downtown has ebbed and flowed. It really has. I bought our condo, my wife and I purchased our condo in 2009 during the recession, and we have seen some really good times and we've seen not so good times, and that's just the truth. In terms of moving our downtown forward, as an entrepreneur, I went through a program called E4All. Middlesex Community College has a program called Launch, and we also have different difference makers through UMass Lowell and Innovation Hub. And I think that the city is an entrepreneurial ecosystem. I would propose that we use ARPA funds to incentivize and actually subsidize the rent of entrepreneurs, get them downtown. Jeff Speck, urban planner, once said that Lowell's greatest asset isn't a product or service, it's the experience. Let's build more experiences downtown, and that's going to help economic revitalization. Thank you.
Thank you, Bobby. Councilor John Drinkwater.
Downtown is a great place to go and visit. There's a number of outstanding businesses and restaurants there, but I would not say that it's currently thriving. And there is a lot of opportunity that we can take on to make sure that it is thriving in the years to come. I believe the best way that we can do this is to bring more people into the downtown by way of more housing. Our city as a whole needs more housing, and I believe our downtown can accommodate more housing. And I happen to agree with Councilor Nuon that one of the best ways to bring that on is to take advantage of a lot of the vacant upper floors in many of those buildings and assisting the owners and potential developers and making it possible to develop those upper floors into housing. I also think there's potential by more partnership with the university. It's been said for many years, but I think there's a lot of untapped potential in bringing more students downtown and allowing entrepreneurs to create businesses that cater to that younger generations of students in the city.
Thank you, Councilor Drinkwater. Councilor Mercia.
I'd like to say that the downtown is doing tremendously, but that would not be true. I think that it could do a heck of a lot better. I always want more, and I want to see it succeed. I don't see that happening. I see like the tide ebbs and flows. I think it's good years ago, but as it stands right now, I don't see that. I see a lot of empty storefronts. I'm happy that Sahel opened up. That's vibrant and refreshing to see. They spent a lot of money there. You have eateries, sitting eateries. That is tremendous, but I want to see more. I'm never happy with what I see right now. I want more. I don't want people sleeping in doorways or needles all over the place either. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Mercia. Next question.
Wait a minute.
Oh, no, Deb.
Don't forget me over here in the corner. I think that's a great question. I too think that downtown ebbs and flows. I've seen it throughout my career at the CVB. When I first came on in 2000, we were working to bring all of the artists into the city, and we were very successful with that. Then 2001 happened, and tourism took a nosedive. Then fast forward in 2008, we had the crash. But we have the bones. We have what it takes to make Lowell phenomenal. We have so much diversity, history, architecture, arts and culture, and we're also a national park. We just need to figure out who we are. Are we a college town? There's a lot to like about Lowell. Is it Mosaic Lowell? So I think once we figure out who we are, we will have the ability to put together a comprehensive marketing and PR plan to increase foot traffic in the city.
That's it. Thank you, Deb. Excuse me. Next question. Now, I know this group has been very active in the cities, talking to people and businesses. if elected, what's the one thing you would do to help Lowell's small businesses? Bobby Tugbiyele, you have that question first.
Sure. We have to create an environment for small businesses to be successful, number one. Whether it's streamlining online permitting, whether it's making sure that there's a process in place for them to know what to do when they set up shop, providing grants, providing technical assistance. All of those things are existing right now through various groups. CTI's Entrepreneurship Center is providing some of those resources, contracting with individuals who speak different languages to meet business owners who of different diverse backgrounds. I personally think that we also need to be careful as leaders of how we're describing our downtown. I think being ambassadors is extremely important. As someone who lives downtown, again, sees it every single day, I hear from business owners the lack of foot traffic. And so I want to keep talking up our downtown, supporting our business owners, but also making sure that they have the tools to be successful.
Thank you, Bobby. Councilor John Drinkwater.
Well, I'm not going to attempt to remake the wheel here because there are a number of ways that the city has actually supported business, particularly during the last year and a half of the pandemic. Over $500,000 in grant money assistance was given out to over 100 different small businesses here in the city during the pandemic to help get them through and allow them to survive. There's been a number of businesses, several dozen, that have been helped through technical assistance and help with their online presence. I think these are all the things that the city has to be doing to step up and help these businesses get through and improve, particularly when we know there's one that's willing to invest and has a good idea. So we have a small but very capable staff of professional staff in City Hall that goes out and works with businesses one-on-one. If anything, I think we can increase that capacity, perhaps through our ARPA funding, and it would be very much worth it for the small business environment. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Drinkwater. Councilor Mercia.
Yes, I completely agree with the previous speaker that this is a city that does everything that they can to help our small businesses. We had the CARES Act that went around to the different businesses that were affected by the COVID, and I thought that was a great plan. We do have other grants available that help our small businesses to survive and thrive. There's always more that we can do. I'm under that belief. But I do think that we need to boost up the downtown coordinator. And many years ago, we had Andy St. Ange, who used to be the go-between between the downtown and the businesses. I don't see much of that now. It's probably there, but not to the degree that I want it. I want to know what they're feeling and what do they want. I want to hear that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Mercia. Next question.
Hello.
Oh, Deb, I'm sorry. I have all this equipment in front of me and I can't see you.
That's okay. That's an interesting question because I think, downtown does have the bones, and I know that there's been a lot of money that has been, given to some of our small businesses to get them through COVID. But now we need to take the next step. I want to see the whole downtown power washed, from the streets to the sidewalks. I want to see decorations for each holiday season. And I really truly believe we need to have a strong marketing campaign and a PR campaign that will help us drive business to the downtown area. And we also need to hold the landlords accountable. My goodness, we have so many unbelievable, beautiful buildings, but some of them are falling apart, and we need to have those fixed. So those empty storefronts can add to the ambiance of the city.
Thank you, Deb. Next question. And we're going to start with, Vesna.
Thank you, Marty. Thank you, Teddy. You are not only timekeeper, but also you remember. Thank you. A good question, though. I agree with both my colleague, Councilor Drinkwater and Councilor Mercia. The city have done a lot. not just for the downtown businesses, but also for the neighborhood businesses, especially during the COVID. It has impact everyone, particularly the business. The city come out with the CARE Act money, with whatever we can do to support the small business in the city, because that's what is the backbone of our city. There's more we can do as a city, and I know that the administration will continue to do that. So I have no doubt that this is a city that care about its small businesses. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Nuon. Now we can go on to the next question, and we're going to start with John Drinkwater. What do you believe is the most pressing concern to the business community here in the city of Lowell?
I think it's bringing visitors into the city. No business environment can survive just on a single neighborhood or even a single city. Even if we were attracting our own residents to come downtown or to our other business quarters, we would still need to attract visitors from outside of the city to come in. And I think that's something that we really need to work on at this time. We need to, I think, bill ourselves as a destination and drawing visitors from the outside. I think PR and marketing is certainly part of that, and I think there are ways to invest in our own city through more arts and culture, through festivals and music. It's been a difficult year with the pandemic, where we've had to forego some of the festivals that typically bring visitors in. But in the coming year, I think we need to really double down and invest on cultural events that will bring even more visitors in.
Thank you, Councilor Drinkwater. Councilor Mercia.
Thank you. I think what we have is a great Chamber of Commerce with Danielle McFadden, who does a tremendous job in that respect. The city can help quite a bit more, but I want to say, if you were a business like the Keep, would you want the homeless hanging around your establishment? I see that at different places. It's not prevalent all over the city, but there's certain areas, and they're asking for help. Whether it's 1 or 5, we have to help these businesses with the people that are detractors, that are helping that business to go downhill. That can't be happening in our city, and we have to address it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. And Deb Belanger.
Yes, customers, business need customers. That's the only way they are going to survive. So we have to clean up the city. We have to address the homeless issue. We have to get the landlords working with us. I think there are plenty of events. Yes, we missed having the Folk Festival, the Winter Fest, the City of Lights Parade, but there are so many other events taking place in the city. People just don't know about them. I mean, I'm fortunate enough, I know how to use social media, and I can see them all in the event section. But people outside of the area, they do not know what's going on. So people need customers to be successful.
Thank you. Thank you, Deb. Councilor Nuon.
Thank you. The perception, people that doesn't live in Lowell perceive Lowell as not safe city. Councilor Mercia brought up the homeless. Homeless issue is not just Lowell alone. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. So we need to first address those issues. We need to work with our partners, a nonprofit provider, to address that. And we have to have a multi-approach in terms of addressing it. You can't be just talking about housings, shelter for them. It's more than that. And then, Lowell has a lot of stuff. Councilor Drinkwater talking about folk festival, cultural event, and all that. But we also need to address that perception, that homelessness, that people are not, the people are dangerous. They are not. They have issues. We need to help them. We need to find them a place. We need to take care of them because they're part of our community.
Thank you, Councilor Nuon. Bobby Tugbiyele.
Thank you. I think everything that's been said already is definitely part of the equation. One thing that I would add to that is business community, I believe they want us to have a plan. Vision has come up a number of times. And I don't think it's helpful for any business, whether you're an entrepreneur or you're a corporation, when we're talking about vision. We don't want to talk about vision at the 11th hour. You know, we really want to understand what's the process. And so one of the things that I would propose as councilor is making sure that we have a business plan as a city, and that it's a living, it's a breathing document, and that we actually do quarterly check-ins with all the different stakeholders, whether it's individuals in the housing and homeless mavens, whether it's economic development stewards, whether it's workforce development. We need all of these individuals reporting out regularly. We need to hear from people to make them feel that there is a plan in place and not just being reactive.
Thank you. That ends that round. We've talked about a solid vision, and we've talked about master plans. Let's go to this question. The downtown, in the opinion of many, has lacked a solid vision, a long-term master plan that has been followed continuously in the leadership on the council to hold administrations accountable. If elected, are you the councilor to turn this around, to start using these master plans, these long-term commitments to downtown, and hold new administrations or current administrations to that vision? Councilor Mercier, you get the first question.
Yes, I am that Councilor Marty. But it is a very good question. Let me just say that we have master plans, and do we follow them? We could check on the master plan that we have and see what is good and try to work with that and build better, because times change, events change. I think that we need a plan to try to make this city clean. I went in this woman's home. All her furniture was old, but it was a magnificent, beautiful place because it was clean, it was shiny. The city as a whole does not have to be new, it's an old city, it just has to be clean. It has to be appealing, it has to be structured in such a way that people wanna come here. My time is up.
Thank you, Councilor Mercier. Deb Belanger.
We absolutely need to follow the master plan. We also need to follow the homeless plan. All of these motions over the last couple of weeks address a lot of this. Why has it taken a month before the election to have all these motions put on the council floor? I am not afraid to hold people accountable to get the people's work done. We pay a lot of taxes, and I want to be able to come downtown, be safe in doing it. I don't want to spend 40 minutes coming from Pawtucketville to downtown. It's finally, hallelujah, today the Pawtucket Street Bridge was open. How long has that been closed for? Nobody asks the questions on a consistent basis, and I will be that woman that will ask those questions.
Thank you, Deb Belanger. Councilor Nuon.
Thank you, Marty. Look, we do need plans, and city do have plan for downtown, master plans, and we need to check it regularly, and we have to amend it regularly due to change. Speaking of homelessness. Homelessness issues is not new to Lowell, and it's not new to America. Lowell, the reason during the pandemic, has owned a couple homeless from other city and town, neighboring city and town. And Lowell does not really sit idle and not do anything. We have the Coordinating Council on Homeless and Housing. The partner with this nonprofit organization, we have done a lot. We do have a temporary solution, but we need to have a long-term solution. working with our partners, and that's what we do as a city. Thank you.
Thank you, Vesna. Bobby Tugbiyele.
Sure. Master plans are important. Planning is important. And, you know, I remember about 10 or 11 years ago, we invited, I bring up his name again, Jeff Speck, and he did the Urban Evolution Plan. And I remember when I was president of the Center City Committee, at that point in time, discussing with our stakeholders representing different public-private partnerships around the city, looking at this plan. And pick it, whether it's bike lanes, whether it's urban landscaping, whether it's streeteries, whether it's power washing, all of these plans were in there. And there's still some good ideas in that plan. And I remember 10 years ago, I was 30, that plan going to city council, and you heard, we can't do this in Lowell. Lowell is not Cambridge. Lowell is not Boston. And it felt as if all of this excitement just drained out of the room. As counselor, I would want to make sure that we stay positive and we stay the course and we dig our heels on the good ideas and not be insecure. Lowell is a great place, and we got to believe it, and not just believe it, but act on it.
Thank you. John Drinkwater.
Master plans are incredibly important, but I would argue that master planning is actually more important. The most important aspect of this is the process. Because unlike when we meet on the city council from week to week and we try to deal with things in 2 or 3 hours on a Tuesday night, the process of creating a 10-year master plan is one that brings in the public and a number of different stakeholders, and you get to chime in and say what's important to you, from green space to housing and issues like that. And we will be beginning the process of that within the next year to start working on the next master plan. I look forward to contributing to that process and acting on what we hear from the public. I think it's critical that the next city council not only discusses a strategic vision for the city amongst themselves, but that we take this process out into the public, out to you, and we make sure we know what your priorities are. So the creation of the master plan, the next master plan, is something I really look forward to.
Thank you, Councilor Drinkwater. And now we're going to go back to another question. We all know Danielle. What's your vision? You know, one example, working with Danielle, with the Greater Lowell Chamber of Commerce and its members to ensure a vibrant business community in this city. Your vision for working with the chamber. Deb Belanger.
That's easy. I've worked with Danielle during my tenure at the Convention and Visitors Bureau, and I know that they continue to work with her. But the chamber has a lot of businesses in the downtown area, as well as the Convention and Visitors Bureau. And you have to use all of those resources, the funding resources of both organizations, to partner. One thing that they did this year was the Restaurant Showcase Week. It might not have been done flawlessly, but at least something was being done. There are a number of programs and collaborations that can be done with the different nonprofits in the region to work with Danielle McFadden.
Thank you, Deb Belanger. Councilor Vesna Nuon.
Thank you, Marty. Great question. Chamber of Commerce has a challenge. They've done a great job for the city of Lowell. The challenge is that recruiting a diverse business to be a member of the chamber. I'd be a candidate that will be able to help Danielle recruiting the Asian business in the city of Lowell, particularly the Cambodian town area and the Copper Square area, and elsewhere in the city, to be a member. That way we have a great, diverse member of chambers with the help of the city, with all those support in terms of assistance. That'd be awesome for the Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you, Councilor Nuon. Bobby Tugbiyele.
Thank you. I remember 10 years ago, and Deb, you may remember as well, there was this big headline downtown, you know, sounding the alarm about homelessness. And myself, president of Center City Committee, Deb with the CVB, Danielle with the Chamber, and Jim Cook of the Lowell Plan, we all came together and we convened. We sent emails back and forth. We talked on the phone because we understood that partnerships is what moves Lowell forward. It's not just sounding an alarm, it's being solution oriented. And so I said it then, I'll say it now. Deb, thank you for being a partner in that effort. And Danielle, I'll say it to you again. I've said it to you privately, but I'll say it publicly. You've always been a partner. And I thank you for recognizing Lowell's strength, which is its diversity. And Danielle, I also thank you for creating categories amongst your membership of Black and brown and women-owned businesses, veteran-owned businesses. In order to partner with the Chamber, we have to recognize Lowell's assets, and Danielle's always been a partner for that, and I'm looking forward, as an entrepreneur, as a Black-owned business as well in the city, as Councilor Nuon mentioned, that he's well-positioned to do so. I'm right lockstep as well.
Thank you. Councilor Drinkwater.
Well, I think in any partnership, like the partnership between the chamber and local government, local businesses and local government, we can, as counselors, learn as much from them or get as much from them as we can often give. We may care about business, but we're not always business experts. So I, first would say, I have an open door to the chamber, to any local business that wants to let me know what they need to be successful. And I want to give credit to the chambers. I was going around, particularly during the pandemic, checking in with some of the local businesses saying, do you have what you need? Do you know how to apply for this program and that? And I would often hear, I'm working with the chamber. And I have, they're helping me with my application. It's really complicated, but the chamber's helping me out. So I want to commend them for that. And lastly, one thing I think we can contribute is I'm a workforce development professional. We have a wealth of young adults and individuals in the city looking to go to work. I think connecting qualified workers and getting them the skills they need to go and get jobs at local businesses is something that we can do through that connection between the workforce system and businesses and the council.
Thank you, Councilor.
Yes, thank you.
Councilor Mercia.
Thank you very much, Marty. This is a very key question, and this is a good one. The fact is, the word is partnership. There's nothing greater than partnership. And I do see it with the Landlord Association. They call every now and then, and they have their meetings at the Holiday Inn. They ask for people to be there. They ask for elected officials to be there. That same type of atmosphere should be developed whereby the Chamber of Commerce asks and gets in with the public, and not only the public, but the elected officials as well. I think partnership is what is needed. They need to know that we're there for them as political people, that we could get jobs created with the development of their business through mass hire in the city. So there is a partnership that should be developed with the elected officials. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Mercia. Time to go on to the next question, and we're going to stay in the business zone. The Hamilton Canal Innovation District now has another master developer. Plans have been made, but going forward, if you're elected to the next city council, what would you advocate for and like to see in that district moving forward? Be it commercial property, manufacturing, retail, maybe you have your own ideas. Councilor Nuon, we'll start with you.
Thank you, Marty. Hampton Canal District, it came a long way. Now it's in the process of almost complete though. I mean, there's not so many lot left. You have lot 4 and 5 that's gonna sell. The police gonna build his high-rise building. We wanna make sure that some of those units will be affordable for residents of the city of Lowell. And the rest the wind development is almost finished. Again, that's provide more housing, affordable housing for our residents. And you have other areas in the Hampton Canal District, hopefully that, I want to see basically the Middlesex area, the Middlesex Street area, right around the Hampton Canal, that the business in the Cambodian town, cross over to that area in the future. So it is a struggle because, like I said earlier, perception about the homeless people in Middlesex and Appleton. And we don't want to see Middlesex and Appleton be mass and cast in Boston. So now that's what we work toward to try to resolve that issue.
Thank you, Councilor Nuon. Bobby Tugbiyele.
So I'm so glad you asked that question because a couple days ago I actually had the opportunity to tour 201 Canal, and I had my hard hat and I got to see a sample floor space, and it was actually a floor space specifically targeted for individuals in workforce salaries. I believe the range was anywhere between 52,000 to 80 to 90,000. So I'm happy to see that that particular project is also focusing on mixed incomes. You have market rate, you have a workforce, but also you have sensitivity to the area median income as well. So I'd love to see more projects that have a strategy and have a focus on making sure that we're providing opportunities, mixed incomes in terms of housing. Edge Group has a banner right by 201 Canal that has tech arts office space. We also need to have a discussion as a community about what's our value proposition. We just can't chase companies. We have to understand what's Lowell's value proposition. If it's tech, let's move in that direction. If it's not, let's not. But we have to keep having that conversation as a community, as a business community as well.
Thank you, Bobby. John Drinkwater.
Well, I think one of the city's greatest needs is housing. More housing units, more housing supply. Right now we have skyrocketing costs because of a mismatch between supply and demand. So the Hamilton Canal District presents a great opportunity to develop more housing. I think the development by wind companies is a great example of how you can create a development with a mix of different income levels, everything from market rate down to affordable units. And I think there's the possibility of more, and they should all follow similar model of creating a mix of income levels, because I do believe if you bring the people in, then the businesses will follow. Certainly you see a lot of these newer developments with the ground floor retail that cater to the people that you're bringing into the neighborhood. I don't profess to know exactly what sort of businesses might come in, but I believe if you bring the people first, businesses will follow and invest to cater to that new population.
Thank you, Councilor Drinkwater. Councilor Rita Mercia.
We're always looking for people to come into our city, to be a destination city, and they would do that if we had specialty shops. And I think that could be created on the first floor of different buildings. Specialty shops is the way to go, I feel. Trends end and start again. Businesses move to the mall. Let's reverse that and say, let's get the mall back to the city, and by that to create the specialty shops where it would be a destination city to say, oh my God, there's a curtain place there, let's go down here, or there's a shade place, or there's some type of specialty. Oh, there's a candy store that sells every kind of candy. I don't know, that would be nice for me. When you get my age, all you have to do is think of food and candy. There it is.
Thank you, Councilor Mercia. Deb Belanger.
I personally would like to talk to some of the current residents that live in that area. We are so busy trying to build new housing and more housing and more housing that we forget about some of the residents that do live downtown. They want specialty shops. They want the streetscape looking beautiful. They want activity at night. They want street lights. But all of that stuff is wonderful. It really is wonderful. But we need to target the people that we want. And there's no reason why we can't say, okay, we want a Mrs. Nelson's Candy House. We want high-end hats. We want this. But we gotta clean up our city first, and we need to then go out. I'm a great salesperson. I can go knock doors. I'll have the time. I'll be a full-time counselor. So we need to do some of those aspects.
Thank you. I want to reiterate, we have a 1-minute time limit. Everyone's trying their best. It always amazes me watching the present councilors They've been through this, I don't know how many times. They have a big advantage against the challenges. This might be your first race. So, with that in mind, if we could keep to that minute, and let's go to the neighborhoods a little bit here. The DPD Housing Availability Report. It's a menu of zoning changes that came before the council that you could adopt to increase housing availability. What's your position? Bobby Tugbiyele, we'll start with you.
Sure. We need to do a lot more community engagement conversations. We really do. We need to hear from the people. I've always been community driven. Whatever advocacy effort I've led, I want to hear from the people. And so one of the things that I would do as counselor is look at the report and have as many open listening sessions as possible. I do think that there are a lot of good ideas in there, but we want to make sure that it fits each and every need for any neighborhood that you're moving into. What downtown needs is going to be different from what the Acre needs, from what Pawtuckaville, from what South Lowell, and we have to be sensitive to the residents, but we also have to be visionary as well. So for me, it would always be about what the community needs first.
Thank you so much, Bobby. John Drinkwater.
I think that was an incredibly important report with a lot of really good recommendations in it. And the reason that the report was issued or was requested by the council was because of the supply and demand mismatch that we have in housing. To keep up with our population growth in the city of Lowell, and we know we're growing based on the last census, we should be creating at least 300 new units of housing every year to keep up. Over the last 15 years, we've averaged only about a third of that. And that's what's causing the skyrocketing rents and home prices that we're seeing right now. So that was the reason for the report. Over 20 recommendations in there. We certainly don't have to adopt it wholesale. One of the ones that I'm particularly interested in moving forward on is an ordinance to allow accessory dwelling units, also commonly referred to as in-law apartments. This is something that can very incrementally add to our housing stock overall, allow seniors to age in place, give younger people a way to stay in the community if they can't afford a home. That's just one of the recommendations that I believe that the next council should act on.
Thank you, Councilor Drinkwater. Councilor Rita Mercia.
Yes, thank you. That is a complicated issue. Although we say we need housing, our land is of a premium. We don't have a lot of land to build. So what do? The two city councilors asked for the zoning plan, and we looked at it, and I could see that they wanted to create more housing in attics, in basements. Ooh, that's very dangerous. It's dangerous in cities, in sections of the city where parking is of a minimum. Everybody has a car today. We put that person up in the attic, that family, or in the basement, and where are you gonna park? So you gotta look at the whole picture and not say, ooh, yeah, that's a good idea. And when you, all right, thank you. That's all right.
Thank you, Councilor Mercia. As I said, experience is key for many of the councils. We're going to go to Deb Belanger. And again, if you need a question, you want me ask the question again, please do so. But Deb, we're going to go with you on the housing availability report.
Okay, this is a working document. That's all it is. We need to hear from the community first, but I have to be completely honest. I will not consider making any zoning changes until we fix our inspectional services department. I understand that we're hiring another person, but that's not enough. We are a 9 to 5. We are not a 9 to 5 society. We have people that are out there on weekends doing things that are illegal. I have an illegal boarding house in my neighborhood. I know of one on Andover Street, and there are so many illegal apartments because of the absentee landlords. We need to fix our inspectional services department before we look at having more housing.
Thank you. Councilor Nuon.
Thank you, Marty. This is a good question. And housing availability in the city, and not just city of Lowell, in any city in America, shortage. So the report is a report. City of Lowell has been the last 3 or 4 years always have a listening session. Input of resident is important. So before any change happen, whether this sitting councilor or future councilor will get the input of the neighborhood, because you can't do a wholesale of change. You cannot. You have to listen to the resident of, and seek their input, and that's important in going forward to address, pick any of those concerns from any report of those report. At this point, I would say the next council would have a discussion as to what some of the things we need to do to add more housing to the housing stock.
Thank you, Councilor. We're gonna go to another question. Eileen Donahue, City Manager Eileen Donahue's contract is gonna end in April. Do you support giving the City Manager Donahue an extension of a new contract? John Drinkwater, Councilor Drinkwater, we'll start with you.
I think City Manager Donahue has done a great job. I think she's certainly the right person for the job right now, and certainly if she expresses a desire and a willingness to stay beyond her contract when it expires in April, I think the next City Council would be wise to sit down and negotiate with her and certainly try to reach an agreement. So when the next City Council is seated, I think that's going to be an important issue on the plate right away, but I certainly would support an extension of the City Manager's contract.
Thank you, Councilor Drinkwater. Councilor Mercia.
Yes, thank you. As you realize, we as a council did not support to extend the contract because I felt that it wasn't our duty to do that right now. It would be very unfair to the people that are coming in to the next City Council, so we left it the way that it is. Would I support it? I think she's done a tremendous job. I'm very, very proud of her. Personally, there's so many things that I could say which would go above and beyond my minute, but she has been very informative. She lets us in on all, communication is key. She does that. She takes her job very seriously, and I would be happy to extend it to if she would want to.
Thank you,
Yes.
Councilor Mercia. Deb Belanger.
I think we need to look at what the goals that were set for Eileen and if those goals have been met. Then obviously we would need to discuss with Eileen her desire to stay in the city. I have no issue with extending her contract, but I also think goals need to be associated with it.
Thank you, Deb Belanger. Councilor Vesna Nuon.
I agree with Councilor Mercier that City Manager Eileen Donahue done a very good job, navigated us through COVID with the support of the partner and making sure that some of the economic development projects is on track, as well as making sure that the largest high school project is going on schedule and on budget and more. She done a good job, so I would support her. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Nuon. Bobby Tugbiyele.
For sure. So, City Manager Donahue, I was gonna say state senator in my head. I go back with her since I oversaw the Workforce Development Department at CTI, and I oversaw a program to do on-the-job training. It was a manufacturing company in Lowell called Christec Interconnects. And I remember then State Senator Donahue coming in and actually providing a citation for that work. And so since then, even through now, she's always been someone, in my eyes, that's a good listener, someone who wants to do best for the city. And so personally, I would not be opposed to extending her contract. I would agree with Deb as well that this is not just solely on her, but we also have to have goals too. We need to understand where we're going as a city, and that's on the council, and we need vision. And so this is not only on the city manager, this is also on us as well, to have some kind of accountability to make sure that she's set up for success and that the city's set up for success as well.
Thank you. On to the next question. Voting has already started in the city. I got my mail-in ballot today, in case you see me out later and consider picking up the tab. But beyond that, there is a special question on that ballot, and that's how do we select the mayor? Right now, the council selects the mayor. Do the voters select the mayor? If you want throw-in, I'd rather have a strong mayor. We're gonna go with Councilor Rita Mercy to start.
Yes, and I'm the one that put that on the ballot through my motion, and it was supported by the council. I put it on there because I personally feel that this city should be run by city councilors, but the public is our partner as well. And I think power to the people, this is a democracy, but I firmly believe that if they don't support it, the majority rules and they made their choice. But I always feel that a choice is prevalent and they have a right to say how they feel. I personally support it. I think the people, power to the people, that's what I say, and that's how I feel.
Thank you, Councilor Mercy. We're gonna go to Deb Belanger.
I was asked this question at the last forum, and at the last forum, I said, it's up to the council to choose the mayor. With the new system in place, you're going to have 11 people that have an opportunity to be mayor if they so choose. It is up to us. We are choosing the leader. They are going to set the tone, and they will also be our voice on the school committee. And I think it's our responsibility to make that decision.
Thank you, Deb Belanger. Vesna Nuon.
I honestly, for me, I have no preference. I support decisions, is out on the ballot now for the resident to, vote on it. And when it come back before the council, should I have the honor to serve, to get your vote and to serve next term, we will have that discussions. And I have no preference one way or the others.
Thank you, Councilor Nuon. Bobby Tugbiyele.
Thank you. The last debate, I actually said that I didn't know, and I still don't know. I am happy that we are actually having this conversation as a community, and I'd love to see where the voters stand on that. Even though it's non-binding, I'd love to see the results. I'd like to be guided by that and continue conversations with the voters if indeed they want to move in that direction. We're going from one systemic change to another. We're going from all at large to a hybrid system. And one of the things that we are judging this a new systemic change of going to a strong mayor is around the lens of voter turnout. And I think we need to do our best as city councilors to make sure that we have a culture of increased civic engagement. I've stated before, I'll state again, that I want to make sure that we prioritize civic engagement and that we increase voter turnout. It's a commitment for me that in 2023 we have no minimum, no less than 25% of individuals coming out to vote. That is my commitment, that is my focus, and that is what we all should be driving towards. The more community engagement, the better for the city.
Thank you, Bobby. Councilor John Drinkwater.
Well, I did support putting this question on the ballot, and I do plan to vote yes on the question when I go to vote. And I think Lowell is unique in that the mayor's position, it's not a strong mayor. And for the information of the public, by the way, because there's been some confusion, the question on your ballot is to allow the public to elect the mayor in his current system. Will not be a strong mayor. The city manager would still run the city. Just wanted to point that out for a second. But we are unique in that our mayor is more than just a presiding officer, like a city council president or the presiding officer of a school committee. They are also the ceremonial head of the city. And when the mayor speaks, they speak on behalf of the city. And I believe it's for that reason that the residents of Lowell, the voters, I think take a little extra care in who their mayor is, because they know they can go out and speak for them. So I think for that reason, people care. They should have a voice in selecting who the mayor is, and I do plan to support it.
Thank you, Councilor Drinkwater. I even gave you another choice if you want to go to a strong mayor, but I didn't hear that response tonight.
It was only a minute.
Okay, Lowell had a $464 million budget last year. Taxes went up 3.5%. The enterprise funds have some issues. We're gonna shortly start paying the $265 high school commitment to each family. With that in mind, is the high school still on time and on budget? Deb Belanger, we're going to you.
Is the high school still on time and still on budget? I have to tell you, that's, it's way too early to tell. My guess would be that no, we won't be on time and we won't be on budget.
Okay.
Unless we are, no, it's just not gonna happen. I'm sorry, it's not gonna happen.
Thank you, Deb. Councilor Vesna Nuon.
Thank you. The report from the city managers recently indicated that the high school projects will be completed on time and on budget. For me, I think that not just the $364 million budget for the whole city, we have to really seek and find new source of revenue and funding. During my term on the city council, with the help of my colleague on the council, we looking for other revenue through CPA. CPA, we got $1.6 million. Those can use for 4 things, one of which is the municipal building. Some of those money will be used for our firehouse, to fix our firehouse very soon. The other that I work with my colleague as well is the local tax on marijuana, because you can't keep on going to taxpayer and increase more tax. You have to find new source of revenue and funding and partnerships to fund some of those programs. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Nuon. Bobby Tugbiyele.
Excuse me, I've heard the same, that it will be on budget and on time. Life happens, we don't know the future, but as of the report that I've seen and the conversation that I've had, that it will be on time and on budget. I agree with Councilor Nuon that the taxpayers are going to be on the hook for in terms of their responsibilities to pay for a lot of these projects. And so we need to be very aggressive in terms of revenues, sources of revenue. We need to be innovative in terms of where we can get those funds. I was actually going to mention the marijuana revenues as well, so thank you for mentioning that, because that is a source that we typically don't talk about. And so, again, I would always go towards the direction of making sure that we are recruiting businesses, corporations, whether they're entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, or 10 to 15 person companies. That is going to be the direction that we need to go towards.
Thank you, Bobby Tugbiyele. Councilor John Drinkwater.
The high school project is currently on time and on budget, and it's going to be a huge responsibility of the next council and subsequent councils to make sure that continues. During the bidding process, it was a very difficult time when that happened during the pandemic, when, as we all know, the cost of materials was just flying sky high. I know a lot of the bids that had come in over budget, and there was a lot of work done to do some design engineering and make sure that those could come down to keep the project on time and on budget. And that's why the city has an owner's project manager to help manage that entire process, and I think it's been done very professionally so far, but it's an important task because we are going to face challenges, not just the normal challenges that come with a $343 million project, but we're still dealing with supply constraints and material costs that are way out of whack. So going to be on the next council certainly to make sure that the good work so far continues.
Thank you so much, Councilor Drinkwater. Councilor Rita Mercia.
Is the high school on time and on budget? Well, I would say, as my colleague said, that yes, it is. I don't actually know that for a fact, but I can tell you that I am gonna make a motion periodically to find out, is it still on time and on budget? Because I think in the ultimate goal, and I'm not a foreseer or a psychic, of course it's not gonna be on budget. For one thing, supplies and stock went up. Wood alone has skyrocketed, so you're not gonna tell me that it's gonna be on budget when everything else went up. We've budgeted a certain amount of money for it. It's not gonna be on budget, that's for darn sure. And on time, we don't know what change orders are gonna take place and how much more that's gonna cost. I mean, I'm not a psychic, I don't know if any of us are, but I certainly don't think it'll be on time and on budget. I hope I'm wrong. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Mercer. I think that ends the round for this. I'll play the psychic. I'm gonna look into the future in about 5 or 6 more years. The city of Lowell has limited resources. We've seen it with the stadium, the auditorium, our schools. Is it time for the city to start thinking about turning over LeLacheur Park to the university? It's 23 years old. The university has gone to Division I. The standards are higher, and also, I think it's, personally, as a taxpayer, would they take it? Councilor Nuon.
Thank you, Marty. The Spinners, Lowell Park. Well, Spinners left us, so now the city managers, with the help, team, partnership is important. Partnership with the Congresswoman Lorre, the state, everyone else involved, working and talking to the Red Sox. There's a Red Sox affiliate. They've been talking to the Red Sox affiliate. Just because they do talking to Red Sox affiliate does not mean that foreclose the opportunity for our local baseball, softball team to have tournament at that location. Going forward, I will work as a city councilor, and the future city councilor will work with the city managers to make sure that whatever we agree with the Red Sox affiliated, that will be open to community event and tournament, either baseball or softball going forward.
Thank you, Councilor Nuon. Bobby Tugbiyele.
Thank you. I think the future prospects of the Lowell Park has to be grounded on revenue. It really has. Our delegation is working very hard in this endeavor to make sure that we get the team here. And I'm cautiously optimistic that they'll make that happen. But again, this has to be a revenue generating project.
Thank you so much, Bobby Tugbiyele. Councilor John Drinkwater.
And if the university were interested in LeLacheur Park, I think that would be something we would have to seriously consider. I don't know that they are. The investments that we have to make in that stadium by way of field maintenance and other capital costs are huge. They're huge, and they're ongoing. That's why, as we consider, a potential tenant and pursue, hopefully, I think we can all hope a Red Sox affiliated professional team. What's going to be as important is what that tenant is willing to put in and contribute to the field maintenance costs and future capital costs for the ballpark. It's very, very hard to make a ballpark like that actually profitable and turn a profit year after year. I think what we have to make sure is that if we are going to land a tenant, it's one that contributes to the quality of life, that provides something that residents enjoy, but that will also significantly contribute through their own team revenues to the cost of maintaining the field and the stadium.
Thank you, Councilor Drinkwater. Councilor Rita Mercia.
Yes, thank you, Marty. And when you asked the previous question about bonding so much for the high school, I thought automatically, what about on top of it, the bonding of the money for the Spinners? I'm thinking, wow, how much can we burden the taxpayer? And it is about trying to get a profit here. But like way of the Songus Arena, we were going in the hole for 1.1 million every single year. So we sold it to UMass Lowell for $1. But in a sense, they got us out of a bind, and the taxpayers saved 1.1 million each year. Is the same thing gonna happen with the Spinners? There's a lot to take into consideration. So I don't know that the UMass Lowell is interested, but if they are, I'd be interested in talking to them about it.
Thank you, Councilor Mercier. Besides saving the city $1 million, the city manager at the time and the council did get a land deal with the university that's been very beneficial to the city. So pat yourself on the back. You're one of those councilors.
Thank you so much.
Okay, we're gonna have a little fun with the next question. Oh, Deb Belanger, I'm sorry.
Okay, I won't take it personal. With regards to LaLasha Park, I love baseball just like everybody else. I probably put the most events into the Songus Arena when it first opened, and I'm very proud of that. But we just couldn't sustain it as a city. I don't think we can sustain the baseball field either. When you look around, you have fire stations that are unsafe, and if we actually went in, I bet there's a lot of code violations there. We have sidewalks that need to be repaired. We have sidewalks that need to be built. We need a new police station. And as much as I love baseball, I don't think Lowell can afford it.
Thank you so much, Deb Belanger. And again, I apologize, I get this equipment in front of me and the last
You're making a
question,
big
it's
impression.
8:10, so we're gonna have one more question. And I'm gonna let you guys have a little fun with it. You've been campaigning now under the new system for months. You've talked to people, you know what's going on out there. If you're elected to the Lowell City Council, what's the one suggestion you could probably make to make the system better? You've been through it, you're dealing with it. Let us know what's the one suggestion you have to increase the system. Bobby Tugbiyele.
Communication. Transparency. Councilor Mercier mentioned earlier about the master plan. And, you know, that there is a plan, but there's this uncertainty as to where we are with the plan. A number of other candidates have mentioned that they know certain things, but they're unsure. And I just think we need to make sure that as we're talking about anything with respect to the city, that there needs to be increased communication, increased transparency. I have been through different community listening sessions with city staff where they are meeting at the senior center, or they're meeting at the neighborhoods, or they're meeting downtown, and they're following up, and they're putting that information online. Communication is very important. I think that people just want to feel included in the city's progress, and so we need to do everything we can to make sure that we're meeting them where they're at.
Thank you so much, Bobby. Councilor John Drinkwater.
Well, we haven't officially had an election under the new system yet, so it's honestly a little bit difficult to answer the question about what we would change. And you know, I think we got to get through the first election and see how it works out. And I'm excited about the new system. And as I go out there and talk to people, I feel that people in the neighborhoods are excited about the new system, even sometimes despite the fact that they're still unclear on how it's all going to work. So for that reason, I actually want to jump on what Bobby said about communication. I think we need to continue, to do more outreach to the public to get them clear instructions on how the system's changing, the reasons for the changes, and what their ballot's going to look like, and just make them prepared when they go to the polls. I've had hundreds, maybe even thousands of conversations about the new system and how it's going to work, and people get a level of comfort after hearing about it. So I think we just need to continue to work on that so people are comfortable with it.
Thank you, Councilor Drinkwater. For a hard question, you did pretty good. Councilor Rita Mercier.
Yes, thank you, Marty. Let me just say that information is key here. Transparency, as Bobby Tugbiyele said. Just the other day, I was on City Life with Deb Belanger. Deb, remember when we were asked about the 5 electronic monitors that were down at the water department on Pawtucket Boulevard? I said, okay, when I get back to a phone, I will call the city manager and make sure that they're out and about. They don't belong lined up at the water department. We need to give that information to the public, because people are confused. Something new is always difficult, and we gotta get the kinks out. I called the city manager, the 5 of them are out,
Yep.
telling, in different parts of the city, so that is constituent service at its best.
Thank you, Councilor Mercia. Deb Belanger.
I think the city failed in this rollout. As a new candidate, not having sufficient polling places is an issue, and the communication has been pretty much zero. In the preliminary, people got where to vote the Friday before the early voting started. The Friday before early voting started. I still have not received my information at home. So they failed. And it's gonna have to be, I don't know whose issue it is, whether it's the election office, or whether it's the city managers, or the city council, but you know what? People do not know. And when I ever saw those 5 information boards sitting at the end of the river, because they probably used them for the Bay State, not in use, that's appalling. And thank you, Rita Mercia, for taking care of that.
Thank you, Deb Belanger. Councilor Vesna Nuon.
Thank you, Marty. The new election system is new.
Yeah.
It's not perfect. It's going to be a hiccup. Just like any of you learn how to ride a bike, right? You fall, you get stretched and all that. So the change will take time. I believe that may not be this election, but the next election will be better. And the success of this change will rely on all of us to work together with the nonprofit, low vote, and so many other that doing those jobs. So I'm confident that this is not, I know it's not perfect, but I'm confident that will make us as a city healthier and stronger.
Thank you, Councilor Nuon. Excuse me.
May I say something? May I add something on? Or is that possible?
No, did you already answer?
I did.
We're done.
Thank you.
Yeah, because we're at that time, we're gonna go into the, and I wanna thank everyone for trying to stay to that 1 minute. You did an outstanding job. We answered 12 questions. We figured 7 or 8. Outstanding job to the candidates. 1 minute closing statement. Councilor John Drinkwater, we start with you.
Well, thank you so much to you, Marty, LTC, WCAP, and the Chamber of Commerce for sponsoring this debate tonight. I think it was a tremendous value to the voters to hear from all of us. And once again, thank you to my fellow candidates. This has been a long process, and thank you for all you've done throughout the process and also throughout your careers. My name is John Drinkwater, running for one of the 3 at-large seats, and I respectfully request your vote. I think as we go into this new election system, one thing that's incredibly important is that it's going to take collaboration. Collaboration between your at-large city councilors and between your district city councilor to bring the neighborhood issues forward. And I do believe that in my first term on the city council, I have proven to be somebody who can work with others. I am somebody who can collaborate, and it's something I look forward to. It's been great building relationships with so many of the other district council candidates over the course of this campaign, and if fortunate enough to be reelected with your help, I look forward to continuing to build those relationships and represent every neighborhood we have in Lowell.
Thank you, Councilor Drinkwater. Councilor Rita Mercia.
Yes, thank you very much for everyone involved in making this night possible. Thank you to our cameraman right here. Get me on the right side so that it looks good. I have been busy for the past 2 years. I have replaced numerous street lights, signs, fixed potholes, addressed blighted property that turned and helped our neighborhood to become vital again. I worked for the Middlesex Sheriff's Office for the past 17 years, and I used the connection to get inmates out on First Street to clean the corridor and pick up tons of trash. I was successful in removing the Planet Aid boxes at St. Hilaire's Car Wash, therefore eliminating the boxes that were used to illegally dump trash. I had the proper signage installed in front of a Pawtucketville family home to alert drivers of a very dangerous hairpin turn so that traffic wouldn't go through their house for the 3rd time. So please, it's early voting now. If you could please and I humbly beg that you consider giving me one of your 3 votes, either on early voting on November 2nd.
Thank you, Councilor Mercia. Deb Belanger.
I am the only candidate that has economic development experience. I increased visitor spending to over $1 billion in the Merrimack Valley, and I worked with many new businesses who made Lowell their home. Cafe Paradiso, Fortunato's, Bishop's. I am a leader, I am a visionary, consensus builder, professional saleswoman, and problem solver. I am not afraid to hold people accountable to get the people's work done. I humbly ask you for a vote on November 2nd, or if you're partaking in early voting. And I want to thank WCAP, the Chamber of Commerce, and LTC for putting this event on. Thank you so much.
Vesna Nuon, Councilor Vesna Nuon.
Thank you for spending your time and listen to this debate. All my colleagues and candidate, good people want to do what's best for the city of Lowell. I'm humbly asking for one of your 3 votes on November 2nd so that I can continue to improve Lowell for all of us. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you, Councilor Vesna Nuon. Bobby Tugbiyele.
Sure. 2 things. I want to thank my wife and my kids. This has not been easy, and I just want to publicly thank you and my family, my friends, my network for standing by me and for amplifying our message of trying to bridge Lowell forward. And bridging Lowell forward is really all about making sure that local government is stronger and built and more connected to the people, and that we also have to be a unified community as well. Councilor Mercer, you may not remember, but about a decade ago, what I asked you, how did you get to be city councilor? And you said, start at your neighborhood. That's what you told me, start at the neighborhood. And since then, yourself, I remember even Bud Caulfield taking me out to lunch at Athenian Corner, and he briefly appointed me to the Mayor's Youth Commission. And my story is about someone coming here 20 years ago, putting my head down and fighting the good fight and doing it because I believe Lowell can be better. And so this is about how do we go from good to great? How do we give new people a chance? We appreciate service, and I am excited to serve, and I ask you humbly for one of your 3 votes.
Thank you, Bobby Tugbiyele. And I want to thank LTC, and of course I want to thank the cameraman. I want to thank, John, did you?
I was
We
first.
started with
Yep.
you, yeah. I want to thank the staff here at LTC, and I want to thank my good friend who wrote me into all of this, Teddy Panels, who's the timekeeper over in the corner. And I specifically want to thank the candidates who did their best, and to hear that 1 minute, as I said, we were hoping for 7 questions, we got 12. And so once again, thank you to all the candidates for their participation in this lively discussion. Thank you to Danielle McFadden and the Greater Lowell Chamber of Commerce, Sam Poten, 980 WCAP, and the Lowell Telecommunications for presenting and hosting this forum. And thank you all who watched and listened. Early voting in the city is going on as we speak through October 29th. Mail-in voting is also taking place this election season, and Election Day itself is Tuesday, November 2nd. Polls open at 7 a.m., stay open through 8 p.m. Please do your part, remember to vote. This is my 13th debate I've monitored. I was a moderator for WCAP, and tonight with Lowell Telecommunications and the Greater Lowell Chamber. You have some great candidates out there who've given their time. Go out and support them and do your part and vote. Thank you very much, and good night.